right, Rich Casanova here for the Pro Business Channel studios. We're actually at our Serendipity studios here in Buckhead with our $1 billion view. And this is the inaugural episode of a brand new show we're bringing to the platform and to the audience around the world, obviously, as well as here in Atlanta. And we're very excited to release and announce this. And this is now the launch of Atlanta Tech Podcast, ATP. So you've heard of OTP and ITP. If you live in the Metro Atlanta, you've heard about that. We're now officially launching today Atlanta Tech Podcast, and we're very honored to have a distinguished guest, a great person to really kick this off and make this possible. We're delighted to welcome to the studios actually the president and CEO at Technology Associated of Georgia, also known as just TAG, Larry Williams. Welcome to the show.
Great, Rich. Delighted to be here. Thanks for having me.
So,
congratulations on the inauguration.
I'm going to ask you first impressions, kind of rapid fire. Atlanta Tech Podcast. You think this has legs?
Man, I think it's the most relevant topic that we have going on, and really it's a global topic. But it's a white hot topic right here in Atlanta. So you're on to something.
Well, you're a little bit biased, being the president and CEO of a technology association.
Well, yes, I should be.
Right, yeah. All right. So before we jump into today's topic about TAG and so forth, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background. What did you do in a former life?
Economic development's really been my background, and I've done it in some of the richest innovation areas in the United States, and had a chance to work around the world. So places like North Carolina, if you think about RTP, a little place called Seattle, if you think about some of the innovation coming out of there, economic development right here in Atlanta. Down in Miami, and if you think about the regional hub that Miami is the best place to do business in Latin America, but truly the innovation hub. And what's really struck me and what really led me to TAG and this great privilege that I have to lead this organization right now is how innovation drives the economies. So it's always important that we think about what the drivers of an economy are, what the job creators are, and its innovation is really what leads the way. It creates new companies, it's new ideas that are creating the next generation of ingenuity, and it's really about those companies that grow up to be small, to be medium-sized company, and then they get to be globally dominant companies. And we've got so many examples of that right here in Atlanta. It's really a fascinating place to do, but innovation is what drives it all.
So, multilingual with international experience?
That's correct. So Latin America is a lot of my background, especially at the beginning of my university career as well as professionally. So Spanish and then some Portuguese. But really global perspective. So if you think about some of the markets that I've represented, Miami and the East Coast, heavy in Latin America, Europe, and then over in Seattle, big focus on Asia, and obviously a lot of innovation and collaborations that are going on in all of those markets.
You also mentioned about global. Talk about the partnerships you developed in public and private enterprises.
Well, it's what makes it, drive. It's companies that create jobs, and it's companies that create new ideas. So the collaborations that we've had through the organizations that I've had, whether it be state government or public-private partnerships or even private chambers, it's really about the business community coming together. It's really about creating an ecosystem and thinking about all the drivers that drive innovation. So it is the large companies, it's the small companies, it's the new ideas, it's the great ideas that can be commercialized. And a lot of those are coming out of universities. It's the capital that's needed to fuel companies, because every company needs capital. Government plays a role in it, and then the nonprofit areas. So some of those collaborations have been everything from leading a mobility initiative here in Atlanta about really positioning us, Atlanta, as the center and the hub of global mobility. If you think about the wireless assets that grew up here, but then as the evolution came, it became the place where we're consuming all data was on the mobile platform. So and with great companies, and as that intersected with FinTech, as that intersected with digital media with great companies like Turner and all of its brands, but also the security that was required, and then the transactions with the FinTech. So great ways to pull together the ecosystem to really move something forward. This mobility initiative has really evolved into an IoT initiative. So again, it is about connected technologies and how we really move connected technologies, and how we consume data, and how that's really, benefiting all of us. It's helping businesses connect and be able to use technologies to be able to do more innovative work, but it's also really changing the way that we live for the better.
You mentioned nonprofit. Intrigued by that. We just launched a passion project in the studio called Nonprofits Radio. Mm-hmm. NPR. Don't tell the other NPR about it. Can you give an example or a story how, like, nonprofits that you've engaged in and how you've helped in their technology, what their challenges are that might be unique to other enterprises? Or
well, sure. I mean, there's different applications. I think usually nonprofits, what they do or what we've done is really about pulling together the ecosystem as well. We're all businesses now, and today and age, every company is a technology company. So we have to leverage technologies to be able to, efficiently run our businesses, but also to reach our customers, our members, and provide the communication and the outreach that we need. So building platforms to be able to do that has always been an important part of what we do, and then engaging the private sector to help us make sure that we're doing that, because we have the same needs as every business.
Right. Yeah. You also touched on a little bit earlier about the cellular or mobile industry, and we just had in the studio recently. There's an association that represents all the global partners around the world.
GSMA?
Yeah. We just had them in the studio, and they're, correct me if I'm wrong, but their North American headquarters is now here in Buckhead.
Yeah, they're actually, so their global headquarters for all of their events and outreach is based here, right here in Atlanta.
Buckhead, Atlanta, yeah.
Yeah, we're in Roswell and just moved down. Their global headquarters is actually London, and that's where because they actually set the policies for mobile standards around the world. And they run one of the biggest trade shows in the world called Mobile World Congress out in Barcelona, which is a great place.
It's like 100,000 people attend or so,
So, there's been a lot of partnerships here with them. It's a great asset that we have in this community.
Yeah, we reached out to them when we heard the news they were moving right in our backyard, and it was just a fascinating conversation. The things that go around that you don't realize are happening, right?
Yeah, they've been here for about 2 decades.
Right.
They was moved from Roswell to
okay, that was the alert. I thought they moved from Barcelona. Yeah. But okay, so now let's turn our attention to the actual association. So often known as TAG, right, which is a great name, the Technology Association of Georgia. So your mission is, as you mentioned, is to educate, promote, influence, unite Georgia's technology community to foster an innovative and connected marketplace that stimulates and enhances the Georgia tech-based economy. Now, there's other similar associations, but your claim to fame is astounding. Some 35,000 members.
That's correct.
Which puts it in what?
We're the largest statewide technology association in the country.
All 50 states. A shout out to Georgia once again.
Exactly. So it's not one of those other states that might claim to be the biggest in everything, or it's not even the West Coast. It's right here in Georgia. And I think that's a great point of pride for all of us as Georgians. And it really is an example about how we come together to move something forward. And if we think about technology and what it represents here in Georgia, it's a phenomenal story. Sometimes I say that as Southerners, we tend to be understated. We're going to dominate, but we're just going, but we're just not going to say it. We're not the big self-promoters that a lot of other areas are. And maybe we should be a little bit more, but we have a lot to brag about, but with confidence, not out of arrogance. But we've earned our spurs in this place. And our technology story really goes back decades. I mean, we were some of the leaders, the biggest leaders in network and internet enterprises. It really started a lot at Georgia Tech. But I've always described Georgia as where technology meets the real world. So we don't always have the shiniest new gadget. We don't always have the coolest new social app. But we have more companies that are driving business using technology than anywhere else, driving revenue. So I've said, it might not be the sexiest topics, but unless you think making money sexy, and that is the sexiest thing around. And I just want to, we lead in areas like FinTech. So, 70% of all debit, credit, and reward transactions are processed through Georgia, which is phenomenal. So that line is a multi-billion, I think about a $76 billion business in itself. But they're running, over $1 trillion worth of transactions through their platforms. So if you got 51% market share, you're number one. If you're 70%, you dominate. And we dominate in that area. And that really does provide that intersection that we have with a lot of other industries that we build on. Cybersecurity is another area that's absolutely fascinating. We've been building that up, back since mainframes needed to be locked down. But we've been able to keep up with that, creating great companies like ISS that became part of IBM, SecureWorks that became part of Dell, all the way up as we kept up with the trends. A great company grew up here called AirWatch.
Yeah.
And AirWatch was the first mobile security application the iPhone led onto its platform. As soon as that happened, Rich, that's what the consumer picked. So people credit AirWatch with putting the BlackBerry out of business.
Yeah.
Right here in Georgia, and it's a fascinating thing because I don't know anybody carrying a BlackBerry around anymore. But it's a fascinating story. But it didn't happen by accident. It didn't happen overnight. It's been an evolution of the industry and keeping up with the innovation. Not just keeping up with the innovation, but driving the ingenuity.
Yeah, you mentioned AirWatch. I just moved from Sandy Springs Perimeter, where their headquarters was at over here in Buckhead.
Now part of VMware.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, the numbers are staggering when you look at the growth and what it represents. And I concur with you that, like you said, it might be as exciting or sexy, but driving the revenue, driving dollars, driving the economy, it's just amazing. The backstory on Tag. So how long ago did it start? And at one point, there was just a couple hundred members, right?
Got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You got, every journey begins. So we're proud. As we go into 2019, we'll be celebrating our 20th year.
Oh, wow.
So 20th year anniversary,
Nice.
So you'll be hearing a lot from us about that, and we got a lot to celebrate.
Big time. So you mentioned FinTech South. That's an annual event. Well, you mentioned FinTech, but you hosted an event, and most recently it was at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
You got it. It was phenomenal.
Right.
So it's a symposium that we grew up, and then last year because of our dominance in this area of FinTech, we really we put some heat to it. Rented out Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Right.
100 speakers, keynotes, and panelists. We took over the field. Absolutely phenomenal. Sold out. Had to cut off registration, and I just let me paint the picture for you a little bit. On the whole field, the first half of it, an incredible stage, main stage of keynotes, great audience with the round tables, very conference-like. We lit the place up.
No,
Halo Board was there. You were there.
I was there. Yeah, we were there.
I know you
We
were.
did a roving reporter.
Exactly.
I mean, the exhibitors.
It was lit up.
Yeah, it was.
Phenomenal.
It was crazy. It was the first time in the stadium. I was there. It was for FinTech South, the business event.
You were running the place.
I was on the field. I know. It's pretty.
Exactly. We had 90 companies in Innovation Alley exhibiting. We had 6 countries represented.
Yeah, you had a whole international exhibitor space to set up for
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
And then we took over all of the suites and even the locker rooms with content coming out, and it was absolutely phenomenal. We awarded it there the largest, undiluted, the non-equity related innovation award to a startup company called Coins, $50,000.
Yeah.
Gave them a check right there on the field. It was phenomenal. It was great. Trip Rackley, a great entrepreneur here in town, was inducted into the FinTech Hall of Fame.
Right.
I mean, it was action packed, day and a half. And just full of content, and we're so looking forward to the one coming up this year.
Yeah, we actually had on our co-founders and startup podcast, we had the guys, the team from Coins early on when they were just kind of getting underway.
Right.
And it's amazing to follow their journey and see where they've arrived at now. So you mentioned the FinTech South event. So what other events? Well, first of all, let's share with our audience the website. How would people find you guys online, and what's the kind of a call to action, or how could they engage or get involved with Tag?
Well, the website's tagonline.org. Great way to find us, tagonline.org. And that is really a portal to so many great opportunities. So it's our big events. So one in February, we have our summit. It's like our annual event. That's where we really bring together the Georgia ecosystem to talk about important subjects. We'll be talking about the future of digital media and entertainment. We'll be talking about FinTech. We'll be talking about IoT and cybersecurity. And why these are all areas that are important for Georgia. We'll be talking about themes that are coming out, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the IoT, how it all works together, and also the broad applications of blockchain. So a lot of people, when you say blockchain, they think of cryptocurrency. It's one application of a much broader issue. So people are using it for all sorts of authentications, supply chain, pharmaceuticals, ag tech, even personnel in other areas. And we can really be we are, and we can continue to be at the forefront of this.
We're definitely thinking alike. As you were speaking, I was writing down AI and machine learning. We've incorporated a little bit of AI in the studio. What are some challenges with that? The fear factor built in. What's the where can people win in that space for AI?
There's great things. So it's about an automation, and I think that automation drives new opportunities and new innovation. A lot of companies are utilizing it for actual efficiencies to be able to do things. So more predictive areas that we can actually use artificial intelligence and make sure that we're moving further up the value chain and the jobs that we're creating and the opportunities that we're providing for the people here in Georgia.
Now, you have special interest groups, I imagine, within TAG.
Mm-hmm.
Drop a few of those, and do they have structured events, or how does that work as far as the association?
Yeah, so great question. So we have our large events, like I mentioned,
right.
And there's 4 that we focus on this year. So it's the Summit, it's FinTech South, it's our IoT Converge, and then we'll be doing one around cyber in the fall.
So those are your kind of signature events.
Those are the big ones.
Right.
So, but you're right. We have 27 societies.
Wow.
And they're divided up into 3 areas. So think about the industry. So all of the industry areas that we've already touched on: FinTech, digital health, mobility. Data science and analytics, which is the backbone of all of the AI and the ML.
Right.
It's the backbone of everything.
Right.
It's all about data. We have societies around that. We have them around functions, business process, corporate development, product development, sales leadership, marketing. So these are all societies around these functions. And then all important is people. So a great place where Georgia is and a great asset we have is about diversity. So diversity and inclusion society, our young professionals and our women in technology. These are all about how we pull people and help make sure that they're getting a part of this great economy that we have.
How would you describe the balance between the SMBs and the global companies in their engagement with TAG?
We've got some great proportion there. Obviously, there are more SMBs.
Right. Yeah.
Just
the sheer numbers. Yeah.
The large corporations really do look to us as a way for them to get themselves, their C-level suite, but as well as their employees involved. So through our societies, there's great pathways for people to get involved, become thought leaders, to contribute to content. But they also look to it to build peer-to-peer networks. To seek out mentors, to look at other people that are solving problems that they need to solve or have already done it. So this great collaboration, both in the industry itself that they're interested in, the trends of what's going on, what's now, what's next. These are things that they can all find, and those are great assets for both the larger companies as well as your SMBs that are growing.
Yeah.
I'm always so proud, and it just really, it gives me that warm,
I can almost feel the goosebumps across the table here.
Yeah, exactly. When a company comes up to me and says, I built my company with TAG.
Wow.
So that biz dev side,
yeah.
Positioning their brand, whether it be in front of a prospective customer, or so important today, getting in front of the workforce.
100%. So let's talk on a personal level here. So how long have you been at the helm here of TAG as the president and CEO? And by the way, you're listening to the inaugural episode of the Atlanta Tech Podcast. Your host, Rich Casanova, here. We're on the Pro Business Channel as well as our 30 syndicated platforms. So Larry, talk to us about how long have you been involved at that position? And, let's talk about the word legacy. What do you hope to achieve during your reign? What are some of your goals?
So, been here 2 years.
Okay.
In this role.
You knocked it all out. It's all done.
Knocked it all done. Just riding on top now. I was, on my first stint in Atlanta, I was on the board of directors of TAG.
Okay.
So it was a known entity to me. And
so a bit of history there.
So a little bit of history, and I think that was part of the evolution as they were looking for, TAG 3.0 or whatever generation we were in. Listen, it's really about connecting the ecosystem. The ecosystem is evolving. It continues to evolve. And what's interesting to me is really how TAG has and will continue to fuel the innovation economy. How we connect people, connect ideas, connect opportunities with the things that they need that I've already outlined. You know, everything from the new ideas, the large companies, the startup companies, the incubators, the accelerators, the capital, the services, marketing, law, connecting all that together so that we can continue to be a leader in technology. As I mentioned before, every company is a technology company. Another point of pride for all Georgians.
Can we think of one that's not? I mean, is it possible?
Another point of pride for all Georgians is Georgia was ranked again the best place to do business in the United States.
I think
six years in a row.
6 years in a row, yeah.
Nobody had done it 5 years in a row. We just beat our own record. 6 years in a row, Rich. That's a point of pride.
We had Chris Carr before he was the Attorney General in as the economic.
He was a part of this,
right?
Great leader,
commissioner, yeah, right.
Yep. And so if you think about some of these companies, and I think you were getting that, you know, people don't think of CocaCola as a FinTech company. Okay? CocaCola converts more coins into convertible currency than any company in the world.
That's bizarre.
So you think about what a digital application, if they were collecting all of that on a digital platform, will do for them instead of running around in checks, emptying all those little bins with coins and then counting them and doing all that. And it's a huge logistics company. This town was built on logistics.
Yeah.
This is a phenomenal area of that as they get things around. But Home Depot, Coca-Cola, Delta, all of these are companies that are
UPS.
You go down the list. These are all great companies. But Pulte, Newell Rubbermaid, all of the large guys.
Pro Business Channel, yeah.
You got it. There's your list. Keep going.
We just got to add to this.
But the other thing that we do is we have some great serial entrepreneurs here that aren't celebrated enough. So I think about the DeBerry brothers, Alan and David DeBerry, who they started Manhattan Associates here. Grew up the company, great logistics company that continues to thrive. They were the founders, along with John Marshall of AirWatch.
Oh, wow.
And now they're doing, now they're into the privacy business, and they're just continuing to do great things as well. So they're the ones that continue. They start up businesses, they grow businesses, and then they're doing it again. And that's a great asset that we have here.
So I got a question I was hesitating about asking or not. Maybe you can pass or play on this, but why would you say, or what would you attribute that we didn't get Amazon here? And he's moved on from that, right? So, why did that happen? I made a recent observation as a conversation before the decision was made, and genius on Jeff's part, right? He milked that for 2 years, got all the intel, right? Got all the free press and media. But we have, and maybe we can pivot to talk about the entertainment industry. We have now what's second in the U.S. for film and television production, which is a big part of. They're now positioning themselves as a production company. We had all the resources here for them, right?
Sure.
They're a loss?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's an easy answer, Rich. You're going to tee it up that way,
Yeah.
Listen, so we fluctuate as far as film goes between 1 and 2.
Even at 1 sometimes.
Yeah, we're even at 1 sometimes.
Wow.
So phenomenal assets that we have.
Yeah,
here.
talk to us about that industry.
Let me tell you about this. This is a great evolution and a great story of how business incentives work. And Georgia was very, very smart. So people like Chris Carr and even before him really thought through. So a lot of film incentives are what I describe as hit and run. And I've managed film incentive budgets before, and that portfolio for states. You come, you make a movie, you get the incentive,
you
bail, you go on. Georgia did a great job of making sure the incentives incented permanent job creation. So we have built an industry here. So I was up in Boston recently, and they closed off all the streets, and I saw all the film crew and all the trucks and everything were from Georgia.
Wow.
So we've got a permanent, so we are really thinking about, not only making the film here, but we've got some of the largest studios in the world that Disney and Sony are all coming to, places like, Black Hall Studios and making films. So we've got the assets. We've got the talent around the universities. So you got to think about the pre-production, the post-productions, companies that are so finite, companies that specialize in the credits. And that's all they do.
Wow.
And then being able to use the symphony to score films, bring in the music assets that we have. All of those are part of that ecosystem that are deep and rich here, and that's what we helped incent and create here as permanent job growth and a permanent industry that will continue.
And not an easy task.
Not an easy task.
Right. Speaking of production, we have on our floor right here a whole office. There's a whole team of people, a whole company that does video animation. It's very intriguing.
So this, it goes back to that whole convergence of what we're doing. Today in age, you don't really know where the video game starts and the film ends and the film starts, and we're turning them into a lot of other things. The other part that's very important that's growing up here is esports.
They had a major event here just last month.
Exactly. I mean, people are, it's kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
People getting, tens of thousands of people getting in arenas watching people play video games.
Yeah.
But it's a huge business, and we've got a lot of companies that are standing up teams. This is a global trend, and it's already a multi-billion-dollar industry. Phenomenal.
I mean, maybe it's a generation thing, whatever, but actually we got invited for press coverage to be there and weren't able to participate. Our calendars didn't sync up, but I'm still trying to wrap I guess if I had experience, it'd be different, but it's just hard to wrap your mind around the footprint that has and how it's just blown up. So we just a couple rapid fire questions.
We're almost out of time. All about it, so he can educate a little bit about it.
We'll talk afterwards with Foster. Yeah. So we got a couple rapid fire. We're almost out of time here. So talk to us about gaming. We kind of touched on that. So and entertainment. Is there society groups just for those sectors?
They sort of fit into some of the other sectors that we do, like digital media and entertainment, and dovetail into it. And then we're actually doing a little bit of work that I'll have to come back and talk to you about.
Get an update.
What the future is and what how Georgia is really going to continue to lead in the new media.
So Larry, you're not getting a scoop right now. We're not getting a scoop.
You got the teaser. I got to come back.
Yeah, he just invited himself back. We'd love to have him back. Yeah. Okay, so in the closing question here, or comment. So it's exciting that you're announcing your 20th anniversary coming up, right?
See, that's news.
That's big news, right? So talk to us about what is that 20th year going to look like? Paint us a picture of some of the initiatives that you're anticipating in that crystal ball.
Listen, we're going to continue to bring incredible content, to this space. At our summit that I've mentioned before, stay tuned. We're about to make a big announcement on that one as far as some of the content. So really looking about the future trends. Our FinTech South event is going to continue to be phenomenal, and then we're going to be rolling out some other areas, like I mentioned, with digital media, and then really pulling together how things like blockchain are really going to influence this. So you can think about us as deep, rich in content, the open engagement platform for lots of people to come together and bring ideas, our membership and beyond, and it's just going to be a phenomenal year for TAG and for Georgia.
It's a deep, rich in content, like the rich part, yeah. But so in closing here, I was actually going to talk about cryptocurrency and the blockchain. We ran out of time, so we'd definitely like to continue that conversation. So how would folks, one more time, how would they connect with you guys online? What's your best sales pitch, elevator pitch?
Just come at tagonline.org is the best place that's our gateway. Come log in and get involved.
Now, are there events people that the general public, non-members, can participate in? Or
Yeah, some of them have a small fee to them, but It's okay. Yeah, come one, come all. That's it. We do about 300 events a year.
Wow.
So there's always something to do. There's 250 business days, right? So we compete with ourselves.
That's crazy.
But we have a lot of volunteers, and we got a lot of people that are engaged. So we want more people to get engaged with what TAG's doing and how we can help you build your brand and grow your business.
Perfect. Well, Larry, it was our pleasure having you here in the studio on Pro Business Channel and for the inaugural episode of Atlanta Tech Podcast.
You going to be at FinTech South?
We're done.
You done?
Deal. Yeah, I actually interviewed Dan Reeves there.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating. He said it was the first time he was at the stadium. Right?
Right.
It's pretty crazy. You got to find out what's happening with TAG. Again, that's just tagonline.org. Everything you know is going to be right there. Larry, thanks again once again. Rich Casanova here for the Pro Business Channel.
You, Rich.
Absolutely our pleasure. Stay tuned. As you said earlier, borrowing our term, stay tuned for the next episode.